So I'd like to ask, what do you want? As explained in part 2, by whatever variables that got us here, we have to accept that this is our reality. Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Now, by this point, I'm sure that you're very aware of the negative rhetoric for both candidates, Hillary Clinton.
If you are a private in the Army and you email yourself classified information, you will be kicked out. But if you are Hillary Clinton and you seek a promotion to Commander-in-Chief, you will not be.
She has a lot to hide. She doesn't want to talk to the press.
Hillary Clinton has two personas, the public persona and the private persona.
When she hit her head, she had to wear these prism glasses when she came out. That is brain damage, and it's affecting her balance. Now, clearly it hasn't affected her cognition, but tell us a little more about that.
But with Hillary Clinton, she said half of Donald Trump and my supporters were irredeemable, were a basket of deplorables. You can't lead people you loathe.
And Donald Trump.
He's an idiot, he's a national disaster, he's an embarrassment to this country, doesn't do his homework, doesn't care, thinks he's gaming society, doesn't pay his taxes.
This guy is far beyond a bad character with women.
So even though Donald Trump has offered very few specific economic plans, what little he has said is enough to know that he would be very bad for American workers and for American families.
Do we really want to give nuclear weapons to a man whose signature move is firing?
Firing things?
But we can end this nightmare before it begins.
However, while it's cool to understand why you do not want either candidate to be the president of the United States, when it comes to the election, nothing is more important than how much do you agree with the candidate's plans of action. When you focus heavily on why you do not want a candidate to become the president of the United States, you ignore what you do want, but most importantly, what you will get. And to better put this into perspective, let's take a look at this clip, for example.
Donald Trump's message, his marketing pitch to the American people seems to be, don't vote for the candidate whose husband hurts women. Instead, vote for me, Donald Trump, because I hurt women.
That's not it.
What the heck is happening here?
All of Mrs. Clinton's paid ads are political correctness ads, pointing fingers at people. She doesn't like the way they talk. Whereas
her ads are his own words. She is quoting his own words, and he says they're nasty because his words are nasty. I'm sorry, but when does this stop?
Aren't going to elect the next president to be the speech police.
Now, this clip perfectly exemplifies my point. A Clinton supporter focuses on why they do not want Donald Trump to be the president of the United States, while a Trump supporter focuses on why they do not want Hillary Clinton to be the president of the United States. But what do they want? Let's dig one layer deeper. The two arguments are essentially,
Donald Trump's message seems to be, don't vote for the candidate whose husband hurts women. Instead, vote for me, Donald Trump, because I hurt women.
Donald Trump is a hypocrite.
Nasty. I'm sorry, but when does this stop?
Going to elect the next president to be the speech police.
And Hillary Clinton is weak and easily offended. Still focusing on what I don't want, right? Let's say that I don't want someone who is a hypocrite. Thus, I vote for Clinton. Does that mean that I won't get a president who's a hypocrite? Well...
As you look across the country, the deck is still stacked in favor of those already at the top. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong when CEOs make 300 times more than the typical worker.
You made 3 speeches for Goldman Sachs. You were paid $675,000 for 3 speeches. Was that a mistake? I mean, was that a bad error in judgment?
Look, I made speeches to lots of groups. I told them what I thought. I answered questions.
But did you have to be paid $675,000?
Well, I don't know. That's what they offered. So, you know, every Secretary of State that I know has done that.
Yeah, not exactly. And what about on the other end? Would I not get someone who's weak and easily offended by voting for Trump?
Now imagine your children and your grandchildren acting the way he does. Would you welcome that? Watch, by the way, how he responds to my speech today.
Now, I heard, and I saw just a little bit of it, but I heard that Mitt Romney made a fairly long speech. Honestly, I thought I'll just address it quickly because it's irrelevant. Look, Mitt is a failed candidate. He failed. When I heard he was running again, and I wasn't sure I was going to be running, what are you saying? They said, you said you have a store that's worth more than Mitt. So let's say Mitt's worth $150 to $200 million. You know, Romney talks about taxes, right? Why isn't he doing his taxes? And nobody thanked me for the carpet. Hey, maybe I can send Mitt a bill for carpet ruined, right?
Again, not exactly. So you see, focusing on what you don't want is a huge waste of time. It's counterintuitive, and I hope that I've convinced you by putting that into perspective, because now I want to turn it on to you and ask, what do you want? Now, look, the truth is that it's next to impossible for me to cover all plans, promises, and statements in depth and really analytically without adding my own bias for my personal vision for the future. And that is why I can't stress enough that I encourage you all to engage in healthy conversations with your friends and family to help you evaluate which candidate has more of what do you want for the future in mind. When voting this election, or any election really, focus on and know, what do you want? For what will be important to us over the next 4 to 8 years is on the line. So please, on your own, do some extra figuring out on what do you want before you vote. And to help you out, I've made a PDF to help give you some food for thought, as well as listed many sources with additional information to explore. Visit sefstuff.com/beforeyouvote, which will also help for part 4. Your wants have weights.